It's going to take ages for the ball to get round La Source, and then they plunge downhill on towards Eau Rouge for the first time. So Will Tregurtha it is who leads the pack. Let's see whether he's going to be able to hang on to that advantage or whether or not Paul Rees is going to be able to go past him. And Rees does indeed go by in the McLaren. Somebody wide there, looked one of the Porsches. Out wide goes the Auto Orlando Sport car, Giuseppe Getzi and Alessandro Giovanelli's car. So Paul Rees has the race lead as they climb up towards Les Cons for the first time. Tregurtha dropping back in the pack then. The Ginetta G55 has really been mugged, look, as they turn now up through Les Cons. Moritz Krantz going strongly in second place after Paul Rees and doing his best to bring down that gap. Down to Bruxelles they come for the first time of asking. Paul Rees leads the way, trying now to build that advantage. It's Nico Rindlisbacher who will do the second stint in that car. And there, look, number 76 Porsche with a flat tyre. So he saw it go wide, and Giuseppe Getzi limping round to the pit lane. Whether the puncture was the result or cause of the excursion, hard to gauge. But either way, that car is going to lose a lap as it limps down to the pit lane. Through the pith path, out of Pouhon they come. And that shot alone gives you an idea of just, first of all, how varied the grid is, full of different brands, but also how many cars are on circuit. 77 Audi through, the Patrick Zamparini and Csaba Moore car. There, Mercedes versus the KTM versus BMW, all shapes and sizes. And another one in strife is the number 33 Mercedes, that from Bullet Racing, Stefan Patrick and Andy Merrick's car. A replay here of what happened at the start of the race, and there was contact. Giuseppe Getzi was turned sideways. One of the Audis got into the side of him, one of the Audi R8s, and Giuseppe Getzi on to the runoff area. And then here, look, 33, Stephen Patrick gets it wrong, coming down to Pouhon, and around he goes. So up front, it is Paul Rees leading the way, trying to break clear of Moritz Krantz, but actually the Porsche came and has brought down the gap to the McLaren. Up towards the timing line they come. The McLaren has the advantage, but it's a modest one as they come over the line. The 570S leads the way. Paul Rees it is, quick in a straight line. Look, gaps the Porsche by a length, but he's not really scarpering into the distance, is he, as they turn their way now through La Source. Battles rage on all the way up and down the order. Number 5, Audi Milan Doncia, double winner this season, looking for a way to gain ground, and more drama. Mercedes have got themselves together, and there's damage to both. Paul Rees gets away a little bit more as they come through Eau Rouge, but drama at the hairpin this time. Those two Mercedes getting into each other, and that brings out a yellow flag, just trying to piece together who it is that we've lost out of all of that, because the two cars, one of them I think is the Lechner Racing car of Jakob Schurber and Florian Janitz, the other could be the Sellerslag car, Bas Schouten and Sam de Jong. There, through on the inside line goes number 1 BMW, Simon Knapp, Max Kobolt's car. Now that has been very consistent all season. Simon Knapp, former single-seater gun at the wheel, goes up into 4th place. It's not been a winning car, but it has always been there or thereabouts. The BMW M4 GT4, it always looks more like a touring car, but it's a very competitive car in GT4 trim. Yellow lights flash. The incident workers go to work at La Source, and out comes the safety car. So that is going to bunch up everybody and deny the quick drivers a chance of making some headway in this. The faster drivers always need as much track time as they can to make a difference, but they're not going to be able to do that now. Now here's the replay. Let's see whether we can see who did what to which and to whom. We're looking at the Audi squabbling. You see them Milan Doncia through, and the Mercedes have already made contact with one another coming into the braking zone. So the contact is made, the incident happens, both cars limp to the outside of the road, both rather crab-like with the broken suspension, and both out of the race. Green flag waves, we are racing once more here. Down towards La Source, Paul Rees it is, trying to make good his escape. Now remember that everybody has to make a mandatory pit stop in this race. There are 1 or 2 soloists, the bulk are all double driver entries, and so you take one driver out, you put the other driver in, and that inevitably is going to change the face of the race, because there'll be some cars that go better with the quick driver in at the start, others will have the quick driver in second. Really hustling on there, look, as they climb the hill. the Mercedes versus the opposition, and Paul Rees up front doing his level best still to pull clear, but this has been a very good first stint by Moritz Krantz in the Porsche in second spot. Paul Rees then, whose father was one of the founders of the Arrows Formula One team, accelerates through Les Combes, getting his head down now, trying to pull clear, but he and co-driver Rindlisbacher both very competitive, evenly matched, and that's what you need in all of this. It's all very well having a gun driver who is very quick, but if the co-driver is very slow, then you're not going to win many races. But if you've got two evenly matched drivers, both that are quick, then you've got a really good, strong chance. And GT4 racing this year really has exploded in terms of popularity. So many more cars, but crucially, more and more brands being represented. There's BMW, Mercedes, there's Audi, there's Aston Martin. We know about McLaren, we know about Porsche, there's KTM, there's Alpine here this weekend, plus Ginetta, of course, as well. Replay of the start, have a look for the third row of the grid where Finlay Hutchinson was squeezed across onto the grass. He got away with that but lost places as the cars dived down towards La Source. Out of the hairpin, on the power, one or two running a little bit wide out wide there. Now pit window is open. Finlay Hutchinson, number 10, comes in, and that now means that behind the wheel is going to be Ricardo van der Ende. This is the Equipe Vasseur car, badly damaged at Brands Hatch back in early May. Ricardo van der Ende, single-seater champion, GT4 champion, behind the wheel, and Paul Rees looks like he's got a problem in the background. The McLaren limping down towards Bruxelles. Now, what has happened here? Is that mechanical? Or is it a puncture? It's a punctured tyre by the look of it on the right front. So Paul Rees, after all the great effort early on, has got a major, major drama. And he's got to limp round to get back to the pit lane. There it is, look, it seems to go pop under braking for Les Combes. So maybe that had been deflating over the previous lap, but it's now certainly gone pop for Paul Rees. The KTM with the very distinctive front, push that forward, driver's escape, this number 23. Of Laura Krahammer, and for this weekend, Eike Angermeyer, the second driver. Now number 69, Moritz Krantz here, diving up towards the bus stop and flicks the car into the pit entry lane. Now Moritz Krantz is on his own. He is one of the very few solo drivers, so that car should run at the same pace race long. It's a great looking car as well, the Cayman, bullet shaped. The GT4 with that permanent wing. Of course, Cayman road cars have the option of having the wing popping up and down, or you can set it, but that's a permanent aerodynamic wing rather than for effect on the motorway. Number 5 Audi hustles on. This the Phoenix racing car. Milan Donja started it on the 4th row, and Nikolai Moller-Madsen will take over. They had a win at Zolder, and they inherited a win because of penalties at Brands Hatch. Rest of the field all filing through. Keep an eye also to the HHC Motorsport Ginetta G55. There it is in the background. The Ginetta on the back there, you can see of the Alpine of Stéphane Tribaudigny and Pierre-Alexandre Jean. Last lap into the bus stop. It is going to be a race win here at Spa, the 3rd of the season for Nikolai Moller-Madsen and for Milan Donja. Checkered flag at the ready. Audi wins at Spa. A great drive by the two of them. Second, he's going to go the way of Finlay Hutchinson and Ricardo van der Ende, and then the fight for third. Tribaudigny and Alexandre Jean's Alpine is just going to keep Stuart Middleton at bay. Up towards the line they come, and it is the Alpine that prevails, but only just. A good last stint by Pierre-Alexandre Jean to keep Stuart Middleton behind him. Still they come pouring over the line. Number 111 BMW here, the car of Romano Morescu and Gabriele Piana that was victorious at Misano. That is on target for 8th place in what has been a very lively first race for the GT4 European Series here at Spa-Francorchamps. Great racing all the way through the field. Confirmation of the 3rd victory of the season for Milan Donja and Nikolai Moller-Madsen. Finlay Hutchinson and Ricardo van der Ende take second, ahead of the Alpine of Tribaudigny and Jean, with Tregertha and Middleton in 4th place. Well done to the Audi drivers. A 3rd win.
It was a really good race. Didn't really have a good start at the beginning. Managed to come back to P6, and then Nikolai jumped in and he just did an amazing job from P6 to P1. I just need to thank the team as well, because they did just a great job with the pit stop as well. Yeah, and the championship is more important lately, so yeah, these points are really important for us.
Yeah, I think a really good race. We really enjoyed it. Finley did the start, so you can ask him how it goes, because it was a bit tricky with start.
Yeah, at the start an Audi came across, but I managed to sort of get out of its way and avoid a collision. So after that we decided to start picking them off. Ricardo done an amazing job at the end of the race, getting us all the positions back that we lost. But no, it was a good race from both of us, I think.
The drivers on the podium, race 2 coming up after the break. Race 2 of the weekend here at Spa for the GT4 European Series set to get underway. This enormous field stretching back to La Source. The last couple of cars just making their way into position as we get set to go racing. On pole position is Pierre-Alexandre Jean in the very distinctive Alpine. Stuart Middleton alongside him, and these two had a great battle late in race 1. It's going to carry on seemingly into the start of race 2, which is about to get underway. Cars now accelerate their way down towards La Source. We will get set to go racing when the lights change. Who is going to make the best start? Let's see. Alpine on the inside, Ginetta alongside, Nicolai Müller-Madsen gets boxed in the traffic, Ricardo van der Ende in the McLaren goes for the gap in the middle, but Stuart Middleton tries to go all the way around on the outside line. The reigning British GT4 class champion within the British GT Championship, Stuart Middleton, came out of Ginetta Junior Racing and now plunges downhill for the first time. 1 or 2 running wide, all over the grass, Ricardo van der Ende. That is very brave stuff, but he gets away with it as he's up to 3rd in the McLaren. The cars climb through Eau Rouge, then up Raidillon for the first time of asking. And there has been, perhaps inevitably, drama at the very start of the race. Number 112 BMW looks like it's going no further. Miguel Cristofao and Pavel Lefterov out of the race. There was another car involved in that as well, which I think was the Jean-Louis Jasper Jörg Wiebahn Audi. Contact them, 2 cars out of the race even before it's really got to the first corner. Everybody blasting their way through Les Combes there and looking very pacey indeed was the number 13 Porsche, the car in the hands of Philippe Betker and Marc Basseng. Marshals are hard at work at La Source trying to clear the circuit. The race director does not want to have to interrupt the race. He wants that to be clear before the cars get back round again. Marc Basseng, though, in the orange and silver Cayman, is going great guns up the order. Replay of the run out of La Source. Look at van der Ende being squeezed onto the grass, but he does not lift, keeps his foot in, gets himself up alongside and then past Nicolai Müller-Madsen, and that is very brave indeed. The race-leading car is the Alpine, Pierre-Alexandre Jean at the wheel of it, and then Stuart Middleton is tucked out behind him in 2nd spot. These two getting away slightly from Ricardo van der Ende in 3rd place as they come out of the bus stop, up towards the timing line now. In 4th, it's Nicolai Müller-Madsen. So the regular front runners, certainly from previous championship rounds, as well as from here this weekend, because you include the Alpine in that, are there at the pointy end of the field once more. And van der Ende defends the inside line coming into La Source here. Through that right-hand hairpin, plunge downhill now. Another car to look for is going to be the McLaren of Nico Rindlisbacher and Paul Rees that was doing so well, leading race 1 before a puncture. They got a 3rd at Zolder. Let's see what pace the car has. There it is, going through La Source to try to gain ground. There's a rather smoky KTM there. That's 23, Eike Angermeyer at the wheel. And how did the smoke be caused? Let's see. Was there a bit of contact? Yes, possibly, because there was a real concertina effect going through the bus stop. The field pouring its way through the right and left of the pit path, being squeezed out wide a little bit there. The Eric Mouet David Loger Alpine, and way sideways up the curb there, the Life at Motorsport Mercedes, Ivan Pereiras and Marcus Pavarud, the drivers. 111 BMW thunders through as well. That's another very competitive car. Gabriele Piana working his way up from 44th on the grid. Out of the bus stop, Ricardo van der Ende is still so busy defending from the now triple winning Audi that he can't really go after the top 2. They in turn come down towards La Source. A dive up the inside, Müller-Madsen breaks as late as he dares, clatters up the inside of van der Ende. He goes through, he goes wide, but the McLaren can't really get the cut back. Let's have another look at it. The gap is there. Moller Madsen moves. Van der Ende tries to come across, maybe a little bit half-hearted and a bit late, and just tries to cut off the gap. But by that stage, Moller Madsen is committed. He's up the inside, and he does go through. Nicolai Moller Madsen then gains a place just before we get to the pit window. So the leader is in. Pierre-Alexandre Jean comes down the long pit lane. This should give Stuart Middleton and Will Tregurtha in the HHC Motorsport Ginetta a chance now to build that gap. Effectively, they've got to treat this like qualifying laps, where the traffic gets out of the way ahead, just push like crazy, try and gain track position, and then try to build a gap. Everybody has to make a pit stop at the same time, so it's not a natural quick as you can pit stop. There is a delta time you've got to adhere to. Through La Source comes the Ginetta then. It runs in the Silver Cup, this car, and it booms down now towards the Eau Rouge sequence at the bottom of the hill. In comes Eike Angermayer to give way to Laura Kramer. Up goes the entirety of the front bodywork. Out clambers Eike, in will get Laura. And meantime, there is the Alpine back into the race. So Pierre-Alexandre Jean has now given way to Stéphane Tribaudini. And the car is still ahead of the HHC Ginetta. Will Tregurtha now doing the chasing. The Alpine, a modern classic really. It's got all the throwbacks, that shape to the 1960s Alpine. There are plenty of them being built for racing purposes. There's quite a long waiting list for one on the road as well. Downhill turns, Will Tregurtha sawing away at the wheel. Now Ricardo van der Ende and Finlay Hutchinson's McLaren losing places coming into the bus stop, and then Van der Ende into the pit lane. But I just wonder whether that car, with the knock it suffered at La Source, has suffered a fair chunk of damage. It may well now not be handling properly because of that contact earlier on. Along the pit straight it goes. Now, in terms of what's happening on track, could this be a race win for Stéphane Tribaudini and Pierre-Alexandre Jean? They lead the way. There's the second place Ginetta doing its best to bring down the gap, but for the moment it seems as though Will Tregurtha does not have an answer. And just looking at sector times, it's creeping up. In fact, we're going to have the first GT4 win, I would propose, for an Alpine. Stop-go penalty there for 21. Frédéric Ross was the man that started in that car. It is now Hakan Riknas behind the wheel, and out it goes back into the race, as there is 35 up towards the timing line. But look at the gap now that he's pulling over the Ginetta in second place. Will Tregurtha is dropping back, but the other car to watch is going to be the #1 BMW. Yet again, it seems, Simon Knapp and Max Kobold are heading for the podium.